We're now going to do some exercises to free the arms from the body but retain the body balance. And the first one we're going to do is very simply to expand the area here by pulling the arms behind the body down and back quite hard, lengthening the back of the neck and pulling the shoulder blades into the centre and down. So we're really pulling this area in front. Look at that from behind. I'm setting up quite a lot of tension as I pull the arms down and back. I'm making sure the head isn't collapsed on the neck. Once you've got a fair bit of tension going, you simply release the arms and they should feel a little more buoyant than you started out. In other words, with a little bit of a gap between the upper arm and the torso. A little bit like the feeling when you press your hands against a door lintel and you step out and they naturally float upwards. The arms want to start off with a natural buoyancy. Let's begin to move them now, and we're simply going to begin to swing and then take them all the way round. The body stays quite relaxed when we do this, but it has to stay still. In other words, it's not doing this. This tends to unbalance the body. The body has to be absolutely still while the arms move freely. And we change direction. And then we operate one arm at a time. If the shoulders have a tendency to lift when you do this, just check it by placing the other hand on top of the shoulder and making sure that muscle isn't moving up when you begin to swing. Notice also that the front of the body stays open. In other words, it's not moving backwards with the arm like this. So this stays open to the players or to the singers, and the arm moves nice and freely on the joint. And we change direction. Same with the left. And change direction. Then windmill fashion in front of the body. And again, reverse. And the same with the other arm. And lastly, again to expand this area here, we're going to clap the arms in front and behind. And for this one, the arms don't turn as the hands go backwards. It's the backs of the hands that meet behind. Watch from the side. It's important when you do this that the body stays relaxed and upright, especially the neck. You can do yourself some damage if you let the neck reduce in length and the shoulders come up. So nice and loose. And it also helps to breathe out when you do this. If the hands don't meet right at the beginning, don't worry, just do the exercise gently. It's not a good idea to force it. We're in a good position to put the hands into a conducting place in front of the body here. This is our area of operations. Our powerhouse is here, and it's in front of this that the hands have to be placed. Look at the difference between these two ways of beating two. And secondly, I think you'll agree that the second one is more effective simply because the focus is one. In other words, in the first example, the beat is here and I'm standing here. So the players or the singers are actually having to watch two things. Once we bring the beat into line with the body here, we can transfer through the hand up through to the eyes, because of course our other source of energy is the eyes here. So the hands are going to be placed here, and we're going to do this first of all with a swing. But before we do this, it's very important to connect it with the breathing. Our breath is going to come through the mouth, not through the nose. Compare the difference between these two and this. The second one is much noisier and it's not as direct. We have to feel the breath directly into the diaphragm. And to check that you're breathing from the right place, you can simply place the hands around the waist, just underneath the rib cage, breathe in through the mouth, and you should feel the hands expanding. So that's the place the breathing wants to come from, not in the upper chest area. Now, we're going to begin the swing as we did before, and you'll notice as I make this swing that there's quite a lot of buoyancy at the top of the movement, and that the fingertips remain in a line with the arm. Look at the difference between that and this. Where the energy seems to lapse at the top of the beat because the hands lost the line with the arm. As soon as the fingers are in position here, there's much more capacity for direct contact coming out of you to the players or singers and from them back to you. Don't forget that conducting is a two-way process. We both offer to and receive from the people who are playing or singing for us. So here we go again with the swing. Keep breathing. And when you've got enough momentum going, you're just going to sit the hands in the position so that they're in line with the diaphragm. There. And you'll notice that I did that with an audible breath that was timed with the stopping place. When you're making this swing, it's also important that you keep the length in the arm. Of course, the arms are not straight out like this, but neither do the elbows bend so that the hands come back towards the face. I'll turn sideways on so that you can see more clearly what I mean. Here's the action correctly. And here's where the elbows have too much give. And the action appears to come towards us and back again. It all the time has to be aimed at somebody over there. So that when we arrive in position here, it's a sort of comfortable handshake distance away from you. It's neither this, nor is it this. In other words, it's the combination of offering and receiving something. And that's largely to do with the position of the fingers as much as it is with the position of the arm. Look at the difference between these two. In this position, I'm making no contact away from myself. As soon as the position of the fingers comes away from me and out to you, you feel some sort of contact from me to you, and I can feel something coming from you to me. We have to feel the weight of our own arms in order to give some reality for the sound that we're going to make contact with. All sound has some sort of resistance, and the conductor has to feel this resistance too. The only place we can feel it from is ourselves, because of course we hold no instrument. So we have to feel the weight of our own arm being supported not from the shoulder muscles here, which creates tension, but from the bottom of the back. If I begin to move the arms gently, you'll see what I mean. There's no movement coming from the top of the body here. Look at this from the side. You feel the weight of the arm right the way from the tips of the fingers to the shoulder joint here. That's being supported from here, and it's from there that we feel the movement, so that it connects with the breathing. Again, look at that from behind. Now, we've already started to make a natural gesture which has some feeling of momentum, so let's pursue this for a moment. Here are the hands in position, nicely in line with the diaphragm and quite close together. They don't want to be positioned here to begin with. We want to have a nice feeling of focus coming in through the centre of the body. And we're simply going to move the arms, the whole length of the arms. It's very important at this early stage of movement to feel the entire length of the arm when we begin it. In other words, we have to link all of this with the breath. Look at the difference between this and this. Once the upper arm goes dead, the beat seems to lose reality and it becomes rather mechanically operated from the elbow joint. As soon as the upper arms come into play, there's a feeling of breathing coming through the beat. Now, of course, the upper arms have to be kept in line. They don't become wayward like this. They're just kept in line with the arm, and we begin the breathing motion here. The great Russian teacher Ilya Musin once defined conducting as breathing with your arms. And it's a pretty good definition. You'll notice as I come up through the centre of the movement, there's a feeling of resistance as I pull through. And when I get to the peak of the circle, it relaxes as we come down through to the bottom. So we can resist even more without the movement necessarily becoming any larger. The hands are quite relaxed, but there's a feeling of poise which comes out from me all the time. Again, it's not this. The hands retain their poise away from me, and regardless of what point I am in the circle, they're coming away from me to you. Let's change the direction. And we change the direction just with that natural feeling of momentum. And you'll notice now that the feeling of resistance is coming on the outside of the circle and the relaxation as we pull through the middle. It's important to get this feeling because as we start moving into the patterns, you'll find that the link between all the patterns is a series of circles which go either in one direction or another. This needs to be felt quite strongly in the body before you move on, so it really is worth taking the time to do this exercise quietly every day.